Hey everyone, and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, where today I have been looking forward to this for months and months and months. It is finally time. It is finally time to continue the Crystal Tower Alliance Raid series. Hi, Graha. Hi, how are you? It's been a while. I've missed you. Oh God. Okay. I'm excited. I have been so excited to continue this for months. The Labyrinth of the Ancients on Mine difficulty was so much fun. I'm so ready to see more. Who are the sons of... Okay, you're not going to give me anything new. 'Tis my most fervent belief that the Fellowship of Noah will, piece by piece, lay bare the long-buried secrets of ancient Alag's history, but the doing of it will require all of your skill and more. Mayhap I can convince Master Garland to allow me to accompany you, that I might see some of these horrific guardians in the flesh. I am quite proficient with a bow, you know. Alright then, Rambros. It's time. Rambros is frustrated over Noah's lack of progress on the Crystal Tower. Ah, 'tis you, my friend. You are doubtless eager to hear of our progress on the Crystal Tower? Excellent. I'd be disappointed to hear otherwise. Of course, disappointed is the word of the day, I fear. I'm ashamed to say that there is nothing worthwhile to report. The Suns continue to probe the Labyrinth of the Ancients, and every day brings new discoveries. Alas, the same cannot be said of the Crystal Tower proper. We've not been able to set so much as a single foot inside of it. You will recall how the 8 Sentinels stood between us and the Labyrinth initially. In like manner, the entryway into the principal spire, Syrcus Tower, the Elegans called it, is also protected by technology far more advanced than our own. Sid and I have tried every trick we know, but without success. Frankly speaking, we are at a loss. It is discouraging, but we cannot give up. There must be a way in. And so the situation stands, my friend. Until we gain entry into the tower, I fear your talent shan't avail us. It will require time that I am loath to waste, but I have a mind to set my people to scouring such ancient texts as we have on hand. Perhaps we can be of assistance. And you are? Be at ease, friends, for we share the selfsame goal. I am Une, and my companion is called Doga. We are scholars of the Allegan civilization sent by the students of Baldessian to assist in your endeavor. Une and Doga, rather unusual names for this day and age, if I might be forgiven for observing, but I digress. You claim to be here at the students' behest, but we have received nary a word of your coming. Moreover, in light of the recent incident at the Isle of Val, I should think that they have rather more pressing concerns. We can only assume that the message failed to reach you due to some mishap. I assure you that we are here to help. What is it, Graha? 'Tis nothing. There was a pain, but it has subsided. Well, this is rather unexpected. Your right eye is the same as ours. The same? You have the Allegan eye as well. The sanguine hue is said to be a trait unique to the Allegans, yet I inherited it from my father as he did from his. Only one child in a single generation is born with the eye. All my life I have sought to learn the truth of its manifestation. If there is aught you know, I implore you to tell me. My deepest apologies, but we have no answers for you. Only one thing is certain. Those who possess the trait are bound by fate to Alag. As your eye has placed you upon the path you walk, so too have we come here to fulfill our destiny. Absurd though it may sound, it is the truth. It seems we have not to lose by accepting their aid. What say you? If that is your wish, then so be it. Yet know that I still mean to verify your story with the students of Baldessian when I am able. I trust there will be no objections. Very well, as of this moment, I name Une and Doga advisory members of Noah. Without further ado, let us have them examine the Syrcus Tower entrance. I promise you'll not have cause to regret your decision. Satora, I should be much obliged if you were to accompany our new friends to the tower. Biggs and Wedge are presently surveying the 8 sentinels. The 2 of them can show you the way. Upon arrival, pray report to Master Garland. He will brief you on the situation. I shall join you, Satora. With Une and Doga's knowledge, along with your uncanny knack for setting events in motion, I am hopeful that we will finally see progress. He just wants to tag along with us. No, he really wants to explore the tower. Super fair. I have added my own notes to Graha's preliminary expedition report and begun compiling a Crystal Tower survey log. The information contained therein will be available to you at all times. Should you have any questions, you need only ask. Okay, good. We can finally actually get the NOAA report from Labyrinth of the Ancients. Allow me to find the relevant page on the 8 Sentinels. The Elegant Empire has left behind many a mysterious legacy, but perhaps none so impressive as the glittering spire of the Crystal Tower. With equal parts excitement and trepidation, the survey party, dubbed the Fellowship of Noah, set forth to pry loose the daunting structure's well-guarded secrets. Once past the massive crystal gates, the members of the team beheld 4 pairs of grimstone statues flanking a broad forecourt, a lethal complement of elementally powered defenses known as the 8 Sentinels. Each pair of silent sentries promised a different method of obliteration to any foolish enough to attempt trespass. Should intruders somehow survive passing through the first barrier of incinerating flames, they would then face death by rending winds, crushing waves, or grinding rocks. These unforgiving guardians were, without a doubt, the product of the unique blend of magic and technology pioneered by the great inventors of Alag. To think that these constructs of arcane masonry yet function after millennia of dormancy is simply staggering, a testament to the genius of their creators. But we would not be deterred from our objectives. Using 4 reflective fangs shaped from flawless crystals, we triumphed in turning the power of the elemental defenses against themselves. With the way thus cleared, the expedition stood poised to enter the inner reaches of the tower grounds. Next up, Labyrinth of the Ancients. A stalwart band of adventurers led by the indomitable Satora Lanzi was tasked with conquering the perils of the Labyrinth of the Ancients. The base of the Crystal Tower is nestled within this deadly maze, the entire structure designed to confound entrance to the spire proper. As we had feared, the halls of the labyrinth were further protected by fantastical foes. Our adventurers faced nightmarish opponents, the King Behemoth and the Void Thanatos among them. Through our research, we have learned that the Ancients were most skilled at the binding of void-born entities, occult servants that were compelled to serve alongside augmented beasts and chimerical monstrosities. After battling such fiends, none could argue that the approach to the tower was a simple one, and though the labyrinth's hazards have been overcome, one cannot help but imagine what devilish enemies await within those unbreached crystalline walls. And last report for now, Phlegathon. You wish to learn more of Phlegathon? Certainly, his story is quite compelling. Phlegathon was the scimitar-wielding colossus who served as the final bastion of the Labyrinth of the Ancients, and until recently was often mistaken for a similar guardian known as Acheron. In Phlegathon's day, he was but a mortal man who sought to bring revolution to the Elegant Empire. The Empire lasted more than 1,000 years, but that is not to say its reign was entirely peaceful. It was especially during the later days of its supremacy that imperial rule found itself under constant challenge. Famous even among these endless conflicts was the rebellion led by the mighty general Phlegathon. Imperial annals paint him as a murderous villain, but the writings of the common folk reveal Phlegathon's status as a hero of the people. Adored though he was, the revolutionary leader was eventually captured by agents of the Empire. Scholarly records give a chilling account of how his body was forcibly altered through sorcery and science, his mind broken and conditioned to obey. An example was made of Phlegathon, a hideous warning of the fate that awaited those who refused to kneel. When Satora gazed upon the general's unnatural form so many centuries later, she was afforded a glimpse into the darkness of which the Empire was capable. That's horrifying! Oh god! Okay then. Alright, let's make our way over to the 8 Sentinels, meet up with Graha and Biggs and Wedge and Sid, and see what we can do about entering Syrcus Tower itself. Alright, let's just run on over. Hello there, Biggs and Wedge. Let's make sure we talk to everyone before we speak to Biggs. We're examining the rubble in the hopes it'll yield a clue to entering Syrcus Tower. Can you tell we're getting desperate? I mean, it has been months and months since the last time we were here. I don't have exact dates yet. I'll get them soon, I promise. Oh, but it is so very pretty. Alright, can we find Sid up here, or Graha, or anyone? I suppose not. Alright then, fair enough. You know what, Sid is probably actually at the entrance to Syrcus Tower. These two are just staying behind to act as a guide and to search the rubble. Alright, Biggs, I'm ready. Well, if it isn't Satora, eager to enter Syrcus Tower and kill everything in sight, no doubt. As I'm sure you've already heard, though, the place is locked up tight as a clam. New friends from the students, you say? Excellent. It's been slow going, or rather, no going, for the chief. He'll appreciate the help. If you'll just follow me, I'll take you to him. Ah, some old faces to lift the spirit, and a couple of new ones besides. Allow me to introduce Une and Doga. They are scholars of ancient Alags, and here by our friends of Baldessian to aid in the investigation. We understand you're having trouble circumventing the tower's defenses. 'Tis our hope that we can be of some small assistance. If your attires ought to go by, your assistance should prove invaluable indeed. To begin with, let me tell you where we stand. Beyond rises Syrcus Tower, the principal spire of the structure collectively known as the Crystal Tower. The only way to get inside is through the proverbial front door, the imposing gate you see here. The problem is we can't get it to open. It's sealed by some mechanism whose workings are an utter mystery to us. Having had no success via more orthodox methods, I went at it with everything from a pickaxe to a Magitech cannon. Nothing so much as put a scratch on it. For a blessing, the gate doesn't try to reduce us to ashes like the 8 Sentinels, but that doesn't make it any less effective a security measure. It's fiendishly frustrating in its simplicity. The only clue we have is the elaborate device carved upon it. A man and a woman, respectant. Elegant royalty by my judgment. Precisely who these individuals were we cannot say, nor do we know whether the device actually serves a purpose. Like as not, it is purely decorative. If you're thinking to force it, save your strength. It's no use. Just ask the calluses on my hand. Rest assured we do not mean to waste our strength. Indeed, why should we exert ourselves when the gate will open of its own accord? I don't think any of us expected that to happen. 7 hells, what is this? What did you do? What are you? Piercing the heavens and gathering the light, a symbol of mankind's glory and might. Its virtue guarded by gates impregnable, only to those of royal blood answerable. Exactly as passed down through legend, I am delighted to see. Beg pardon for interrupting your bewilderment. I couldn't help but notice the remarkable playthings you have acquired. Nero, you're still alive! Garland, if I didn't know better, I would say you weren't happy to see me. But I jest. In light of our recent meetings, you have every right to be wary. But rest assured, I am no longer a threat to you. My legion is for all intents and purposes defunct, and my association with it means a tight noose awaits me back in Garlemald. And so I've been roaming this land, Eorzea, a regular itinerant. In the course of my wanderings, I chanced to catch wind of your latest venture. It sounded positively fascinating, and so I decided to come here and join you. After the wrongs you've committed, you think us that gullible. If you are suspicious of my intent, 'tis only my just deserts. But I am determined to make amends. As a gesture of goodwill, I will share with you what I know, starting with these two odd characters. As you are doubtless already aware, the Crystal Tower was a symbol of ancient Alag's might and prosperity. Entry was permitted only to royalty and a select few individuals. According to the records I've unearthed, only royal blood can open the gate. In other words, the Emperor and his progeny were living keys. You mean to say that these two are descended from Alagan royalty? Oh, I suggest nothing so glamorous. To put it plain, they are imitations of royalty, living keys born of Alagan ingenuity. Clones, I believe, is the name your creators gave your kind. Is that not so? Twould seem that the time for concealment is past. Pray accept our apologies. 'Twas not our intent to deceive. We simply wish to avoid causing undue alarm by prematurely making what many would consider deranged claims. If it please you, let us return to the 8 Sentinels. There is much and more to tell. Very well. Seven hells, do you seriously mean to follow us around? Come, Garland, you know me better than to think that I spoke in jest. What more will it take for us to be reconciled? A gift, perhaps? An elegant tombstone. It holds the information I just shared with you, and a deal more besides. It used to be the jealously guarded property of the 14th Legion, but it's yours now. I wish you joy of it. I look forward to working together, old friend. God damn it, Nero. We served you divorce papers back in the Praetorium. Do you really think that your ex wants to see you now? Actually, can we find Nero? Is he hanging around here? Or has he run off to hide from us? I don't see him, so I'm not gonna... Oh, there he is. We may not have gone off to the best of starts, but the past is in the past. Yesterday's enemies can yet be today's friends. Do you not agree, Warrior of Light? I think you're an asshole and should just accept that you've lost Sid. He's not interested in you anymore. The Chief and Nero go all the way back to the Magitech Academy. It's an exclusive school situated in the capital, reserved for the Empire's brightest elite. I don't know the nitty-gritty details, but they didn't get along back then, and they don't get along now. Fate's a bastard for bringing them together again. Yes, I know that they're ex-boyfriends. Like, it's not canon, but like most people basically accept it as canon. There's so much romantic and sexual tension between them, and it's just gonna keep getting more obvious and funnier as we go on. It's so funny. To think the Elegans can make copies of people. If this knowledge were to fall into the wrong hands, the world would become a terrible place. I shudder to imagine a dozen Bigs shouting at me all day long. Ooh. Rude to Biggs? It goes without saying that Nero can't be trusted. We do well to keep an eye on him at all times. Oh, don't worry, I've got my camera pointed right at him. Let us hear what Une and Doga have to say. It will not be too late to decide upon a course of action afterwards. You have every right to mistrust us, but I beg you hear us out. Long have we waited for this opportunity to fulfill our life's purpose. Alright, what do you have to say? If you are ready to listen, we shall tell you all. As pertains closely to your investigation, your leader, Rambros, may wish to be present. Before we begin, pray allow me to apologize again. It was not our intent to deceive you. As you will already have gathered, we are not scholars sent by students of Baldessian. Nay, we are clones, copies of people who once existed given life through Allegan technology. This is rather a lot to take in. If it would not be considered unseemly, might I ask why you and yours were created? And more specifically, what it is that you now seek to do? Answering your questions requires that we revisit Allegan history. Pray bear with us. The Allegan Empire reached zenith long before our kind came into being. In that glorious age, the Crystal Tower stood tall as a symbol of Allegan pride. Parents took their children there that they might learn how the nigh-limitless energy it produced brought prosperity to the whole empire. That prosperity, however, bred decadence, and the empire began to show signs of stagnation. This decline was made all the more rapid for want of strong leadership. In a matter of generations, the Allegan civilization became a pale shadow of its former self. Its once gleaming cities fell into disrepair, and its frontier lands were given over to the wilderness. Lamenting the pitiful state of affairs, one technologist made it his mission to restore Alleg to greatness. Amon was his name, and he believed that the ailing empire wanted for but a potent ruler. And none was more potent than its founding father, whom he sought to resurrect. The founding father? You cannot mean Emperor Xande. None other. As part of his experiments, Amon created clones of the Emperor's descendants. We are the products of that experiment, copies of Une and Doga. Historical texts mention the reigns of two Allegan empires named Xande. It was commonly believed that the second was the namesake of the first. After all, such a custom is not uncommon amongst royalty and commoners alike. To think that the two were in fact one and the same. Aye, Xande returned from the grave and assumed his throne once more. And true to Amon's prediction, the Emperor restored his realm to the glory it once knew. Would that he could have been satisfied with that. In his previous life, the Emperor desired to bring the entire world under Allegan dominion, an ambition that ultimately went unfulfilled. Having been granted a second chance, he was determined to succeed. Realizing that he needed more power to wage his war of conquest, Xande turned his sights towards a forbidden source, darkness. In order to learn how to harness this power, he converted the Crystal Tower into a restricted research facility. Darkness again. Seven hells, what is it with megalomaniacal rulers turning to darkness in their lust for power? Well, at least this one won't be bothering us, being thousands of years dead and all. Would that you were right, Master Garland. Alas, Emperor Xande is very much alive. Within Syrcus Tower he still abides, his ambition burning all the more ardently for his empire's collapse. Wielding the power of darkness requires prodigious amounts of energy that not even the Crystal Tower could produce. In order to augment the shortfall, Dalamud was created and launched into the heavens. On high it hung, gathering the sun's energy and channeling it to the tower below. However, a miscalculation resulted in a surge of energy that escaped into the land. This triggered an earthquake of unprecedented violence, the calamity that ushered in the Fourth Umbral Era. In the blinking of an eye, the mighty Allegan Empire was laid to waste. Yet, even as the Crystal Tower was sinking into the earth, the technologist Amon, now Emperor Xande's closest aide, invoked powerful magics and halted the flow of time. Every soul within the structure, the Emperor included, was placed in a deep slumber. In that state, they were to remain until the time tool was ripe to awaken. Eras came and went. After millennia lying dormant, Dalamud was summoned back to the Earth. Its descent triggered the Seventh Umbral Calamity, in the wake of which the Crystal Tower re-emerged. At that moment, Emperor Xande awakened. In his lust for power, the Emperor consorted with darkness and was seduced by its corrupting influence. Even though his empire is now little more than a fading memory, he will stop at nothing to see his ambition realized. Tis for no other purpose but to put an end to Xande's madness that we exist. This is the mantle we have inherited from our namesakes, the true Une and Doga. Fearing what might befall the world, the two of them sought to thwart their emperor. They gave unto us their will that we might carry on their mission should they fail. When we came to our senses within the Crystal Tower, we deliberated a course of action. Concluding that we alone could not overcome Xande, we struck out to find a worthy ally. It has taken years, but our search is finally over. 'Tis no ordinary woman who can cut a path through the labyrinth of the ancients. With you as our champion, Satora Lansi, we are confident that we can end Xande's dark ambition once and for all. Well, that'll teach me for speaking too soon. Setting my chagrin aside, I see now why you knew about the students of Baldessian among a host of other things. You were observing our investigation the whole time. So, what will we do, Satora? The world's in grave danger again, and it just so happens you're an expert at saving it. Well, alright then. Let's take care of it. Xande will not rule this day. You have our eternal gratitude. Together, let us see the elegant Empire's dark past laid to rest. It has been our mission to recover the long-lost knowledge of the Allegan civilization. But what worth is that knowledge if it means subjecting the realm to peril? Truth be told, it pains me to think that the tower's secrets may become lost to us, but the greater good must ever come first. Besides, no quantity of ancient relics can compare to our friends Une and Doga, living, breathing Allegans. And so I hereby declare a change in Noah's objective. Henceforth, we shall direct all efforts towards sealing off Syrcus Tower. Its dark secrets must never know the light of day. Satora, as you did for us within the Labyrinth of the Ancients, I would have you enter the structure and eliminate hostile elements. Suffice it to say, this includes Emperor Xande himself. Meanwhile, the rest of us shall examine ways to isolate Syrcus Tower from the outside world. To work then. Wait, there is something I must know. My right eye is like yours. Does this mean... You inherited the trait from your father, you said. Know that clones are unable to bear offspring. You have no cause for concern. The Allegan Eye, you called it, but to us it is the Royal Eye, owing to the fact that the trait manifests only within in those possessed of royal blood. I cannot well explain why the eye runs in your line, but I am disinclined to think it a coincidence. Though you are doubtless impatient to learn the truth, pray have patience. All will be revealed in due time. Okay, we learned a lot there. But we have a mission. Though their names do not appear to have survived the passage of time, Doga and Une were worthy individuals. They were not without faults, but they placed the welfare of the people above all else. When Xande was resurrected, they supported his second ascension to the throne in hopes that the Empire would flourish once more under his leadership. When it came to light that Xande was consorting with dark powers, they did all within their power to stop him. Among their many acts, they imbued us, 2 humble clones, with their will. Within Syrcus Tower, you'll encounter clones who share our appearance. Though they too were created in the image of Doga and Une, they are but empty husks bereft of independent will. Their sole purpose is to eliminate intruders. Striking down spitting images of Une and myself may give you pause, but you must not let that stay your hand. Alright, well, in that case, you two should definitely stay behind so we don't get confused if you're going to look identical. Don't want to accidentally slay you while taking down the clones that want us dead. My apologies if I've given you cause to worry. I'm quite well, I assure you. As you can appreciate, there has been much for me to think on. But now is the time for action, not idle thoughts. Syrcus Tower awaits us. Your task is to eliminate all hostile elements within the structure, Xande himself included. This will afford us a chance to seal off the facility. May the crystal grant you strength. Alright, thank you, Graha. Good to hear you're doing okay. Alright. The truth of my eye is ever on my mind, but right now every man of us has a job to do. Rest assured I shan't allow myself to be distracted. Alright. Syrcus Tower, we will be entering you soon. But before that, we need to gather our party. And our meeting point is going to be back at the camp for the Sons of St. Coinoc at St. Coinoc's Find. I'll meet you there once my party has gathered. Alright, we're ready. 2 people are from Public Party Finder, but basically everyone else is a pre-organized group. Thank you everyone for joining. Let's get going. Let me just check in with my party real quick, and then we'll get going. And then I'm going to be doing post-commentary for the raid itself. Okay, so minimum eye level, silence echo, Syrcus Tower. Let's begin. Alright, who's the one person who forgot to click ready? Alright, let's try that again. Someone dozed off. There we go. Alright, let's begin. Syrcus Tower on Mine difficulty. I absolutely adore this raid on Mine difficulty. It is so good. There's so many mechanics that you never see when playing regularly because the item level on all the gear is just completely overpowered in the modern day, and you just don't get a chance to see all the mechanics because you kill everything too fast nowadays. So mine is fantastic. I love it. As we get going, I'm going to recommend not looking at the Alliance chat. A few people at a certain point in the raid got a little bit overeager about discussing the way in which Crystal Tower comes back in the main story later, which they didn't get too explicit about it, but they got explicit enough that it could be major spoilers. I won't say when this happens. I'll just say I recommend not looking at the Alliance chat. We don't do too much strategizing, and I'm going to be telling you the strategies anyways. It's fine. I'm leaving the Alliance chat on screen because I do want to show the experience that we had with what strategizing we did do and all that. I've mentioned before that Crystal Tower is mandatory because Crystal Tower comes back in the main story. So, that's the fact that it comes back is not spoilers. People just got a little bit overeager about how it does. Anyways, as usual, we're going to be doing the typical Alliance raid strategy of Group A takes the left group, Group B takes the middle group, Group C takes the right group. That's just standard for all Alliance raids. I'm in Alliance A, so I'm on the left group. So, the middle group gets a dragon, left group and right group gets an Oceanus, and all the groups get a whole bunch of adds, including Kunoichi, Shinobi, and Dark Generals. So, let's get going on taking them down. They're just regular adds, regular trash. They're not too difficult for this first section. It's just trash packs. I did forget to eat food at first. Eating it now just to make sure I have it. The trash packs will get a little bit more interesting as we get further in, but for now it's just regular trash packs. Labyrinth is going to by far have been the easiest Alliance raid, I think, on mine. Because Labyrinth of the Ancients was designed for 6 tanks in mine, then from Syrcus Tower onwards, all Alliance raids are intended for 3 tanks. 1 per party versus the previous 2 per party. So the trash packs are very noticeably a lot easier from Syrcus onwards than they were in Labyrinth. Which is not normally an issue in regular gameplay, but is a huge difference on mine difficulty. So, yeah. Anyways, our group cleared out our trash packs first, so we moved on to help Group B with the Yellow Dragon. And cleared everything out so we can move onwards. We did need to take a pause right before the next fight, which is the first boss, because one person had some keybind issues. An external program was trying to hijack their controls, which was annoying. So we took a quick break so they could fix it. But we'll cut ahead once we catch up to where the next boss is. And once the next boss starts, I'll start going over their mechanics. I am generally going to try to go over mechanics for each fight, and then I will shut up so you can hear the music, because I do love Syrcus Tower's music a lot. Also, as a reminder, for strategies, I am reading off the Console Games Wiki, Final Fantasy XIV Wiki. They've got wonderful strategies and linked to video guides if the text guides are not enough for you. I really like MTQ Capture's guides and Hector's guides for if you need video guides. But yeah, let's begin with Scylla. So, Scylla has 2 phases. First phase and second phase are mostly identical, so we'll go over first phase first and then the changes for phase 2. For phase 1, we have several things we need to watch out for. First of all, there are 3 giant lightning towers around the arena. We need to power them up. We need to power them up 3 times each. How do we power them up? Well, there are several elemental balls that will appear in the arena as we fight. First off are the electricity balls, the lightning balls. These balls will tether to a player and follow them around. This is true for all the elemental balls in this fight. You want to take the lightning balls and drag them to one of the lightning towers to power them up. Generally, Group A will take the northwest tower, Group B will take the south tower, and Group C will take the northeast tower. Usual Alliance raid division of labor. But you want to drag the lightning balls to the towers to power them up. You want to power each tower up 3 times in total each. If you do not drag the lightning balls to a tower, they will explode after 15 seconds, doing raid-wide damage. The next type of balls that will appear after that are ice balls. If they hit you, they will explode, turning you into an ice cube, and also doing the same to anyone nearby you. They'll do damage and freeze anyone nearby you. So you want to take those and drag them a little bit away from the party, not too far, but away so that they're not going to hurt anyone else, and then let yourself get frozen, because there's no other way to handle them. You have to get frozen. You cannot escape them. The third type of elemental ball is the fireball. With the fireball, you'll be able to bring those over to someone who is frozen and thaw them. The fireball will explode after 15 seconds if you do not drag it to a person in time. When you thaw someone with an ice ball, they will leave a puddle of water behind, and the puddle of water is very, very handy for Ancient Flare, which just went off. If you are standing in a water puddle when Ancient Flare goes off, you will take reduced damage because the water puddles give fire damage resistance up. So, take the ice balls away from the party so you can get frozen safely without hurting anyone. You'll either thaw after 30 seconds or when someone hits you with a fireball. If you have a fireball, bring it to someone with ice to thaw them out and create water puddles, then stand in the water puddles to protect yourself from Ancient Flare. Lightning balls go to the lightning towers. You need 3 lightning balls per tower. The other thing to watch out for during this fight, and yes, we did wipe, or at least we're about to wipe, it was a little bit rough. It's fine. We'll consider it warm-up. It happens. This is mine difficulty, after all. But once, the other mechanic we need to watch out for, other than the elemental balls, is the adds. There are these, what are they called? Staffs of Eldering, which will appear 3 at a time around the arena. They will do big donut AoEs, and they'll also do line AoEs at random people. They're not too big of an issue. Take them down so they'll cause problems, but they're not too hard to dodge for the most part. Just try not to stand in where their donut's going to be. Though they can definitely be a threat if you are frozen in ice, so do take care of them. Don't let them just sit around. And that is about it for Phase 1's mechanics. Scylla also has an AoE attack called Unholy, which does a lot of raid-wide damage. So there's going to be a lot of damage coming out. Each individual mechanic is not too hard and somewhat self-explanatory. Lightning goes to lightning, fire melts ice, and water protects you from fire. It's fairly self-explanatory, but it's also a lot happening at once. So I'm going to go ahead and let you listen to the music, and when we hit the phase transition to Phase 2, we'll go over Phase 2. But first, we're going to discuss how to divide up the towers, just to make sure our party knows that. Alright, after the fight has been going on for long enough, the phase transition begins. If all 3 lightning towers have been charged, 3 paths will become available on the edge of the arena. I believe in the same spots where the towers... No, between the towers. Right in the middle of each of the towers. Like, halfway between each tower. A lot of us did not know about this mechanic, so we didn't do it properly. But it is basically the same as Ancient Flare with Phlegathon back in Labyrinth. Enough people need to get onto those pads between each of the towers. If enough people get on the pads, we are protected from the Daybreak cast. If Daybreak goes off without the shield being up, we all get petrified for 15 seconds, which can be extremely dangerous. Yeah, we just need to have all the lightning towers charged in order to be able to do that, so if the towers aren't charged, we're screwed. Phase 2 is effectively the same as Phase 1, just with adds, which the off-tank can grab and pull away. It can get a little bit chaotic with the addition of the adds. It's already a chaotic fight, but we survived just fine. The petrification really didn't screw us that badly, though. It absolutely could have screwed you back when this raid was new. Even on mine difficulty, this is still a fairly easy raid, it seems. We're just actually able to see the mechanics this time around. But yeah, no, that's basically all the mechanics. Daybreak will cast Petrify on everyone if you don't block it with the shields, which you power with the lightning towers. And yeah, that's about it. On to the next fight. Each individual mechanic's not too bad. There's just a lot of mechanics happening. And also, none of us knew about, well, very few of us knew about the pads. A few did, but... Second trash pack, very similar to the first. This time we have Acherons and the little flying things flying around. And then, once we've cleared out all the ads, there'll be a shift to a different trash pack. We'll get into that when we get to it. For now, let's fight. Very clever use of the limit break, by the way. Sadly, not well timed. The ads got pulled away, so it didn't work. So yeah, once all of the ads are dead, a green dragon will drop in for round 2 of this fight. Fun that the Alligans had a bunch of dragons in their tower. This is the second dragon we fought in this tower so far. Dragons are originally from Mericidia. A lot of them migrated up north to Dravania, up in Kurthus to the north, and we'll get into all of that later, but fun that Allag has a bunch of dragons from Mericidia lurking around in their tower. I wonder if we'll learn about that eventually. It actually might already be known info at this point in the game, but I'll hold off to when I'm sure it's safe to talk about. All you really need to know, the details, don't worry about the details. All you really need to know is Allag was a world-spanning, all-conquering empire. So yeah, it's rather largely implied here, but they took over a lot. Once the green dragon is dead, or near the end of its life, a whole bunch of clones of Une and Doga will appear. But yeah, we'll get more into Allag's world domination bullshit as we learn more about them. For now, it's largely just strongly implied, to the point of like, yeah, no, obviously they weren't world conquering. This boss, Glasya Labolas. This is the reason I wanted to do Syrcus Tower on Mine difficulty, because this guy has some mechanics that you never see in the regular runs of this. Oh my god. There are some mechanics here. So, first thing to point out, there's a bunch of jump platforms surrounding the arena. Most people don't even notice those exist when you're playing normally. You never interact with them normally. We're going to be using them today. Are you ready to see some mechanics? It's going to be fun. Alright, so Glasya Labolas is not too complicated at first. He adds mechanics as he goes on, but none of them are particularly bad. You'll notice he has a charge meter up underneath the duty timer in the top right. I believe when that hits 100, I'm not actually entirely sure what the timer does, or what the charge count does. It might make him more powerful so he does more damage. It might lead to a particular mechanic. I want to say it leads to a particular mechanic, which is the mechanic that I want to actually show in this fight because it's really fun. But I can't find for certain. It's not listed on the Console Games Wiki what the meter does. I might need to check a few really old videos from when this raid was new to see how exactly that works. But at a certain point in the fight, after we've been fighting for long enough, ads will begin appearing. Clockwork Rights. They will fire a beam at Glasya Labolas, which will power him up. And we cannot hurt the Clockwork Rights. Not at first, anyway. If we want to be able to hurt them, we need to hop into their little AoE field that surrounds them. Doing so will paralyze you. Whoever jumps in will not be able to move or do anything. But it also makes the Clockwork Right vulnerable and stops them from powering up Glasya Labolas. So, one person needs to sacrifice themselves to distract the Clockwork Right, while everyone else needs to fight the Clockwork Rights to destroy them. So that Glasya Labolas does not charge up too quickly. The Clockwork Rights will spawn a few more times as we go, but at a certain point, probably pretty quickly here, yeah, right about here, Glasya Labolas will use a big attack called Death Stream. It is an attack. It's a very big attack. Thankfully, while it does about half our health and damage to everyone in the entire alliance, it's not too hard to recover from, and we can just keep going. It is a big attack, though. It is definitely a big attack to watch out for. But once that attack has gone off, he gains a big Dona AoE that you need to either be very close to him or very far from him to dodge, and he also starts throwing around those big fiery spinny blades of death. Don't stand in them and you'll be fine. Okay, so the charge reset after he uses Death Stream. So I'm going to assume then that the charge is just how determines how powerful his Death Stream is going to be. The more charged it is, the more dangerous it is. The next time he starts charging up for Death Stream, he's going to summon 6 beams from these various pillars around the arena, and 3 Clockwork Squires. What we need to do is get each Clockwork Squire to distract 2 of the beams, and then kill the Squires. In the meantime, if any of those beams are touching Glasya Labolas, he will be immune to all damage, and I think possibly even... I think it's possible that he will even be able to reflect damage at you, so if you attack him, it reflects the damage back at you, I think? Oh god, his charge hit 100. Lovely, just what we needed. What we really need is one more ad, there it is, so that we can drag it over to distract that beam, and stop him from getting charged up. There we go. Finally, it went over there. If we can kill all the ads and distract all the beams in time, before he starts charging Death Stream, we can hop on jump panels which spawn powered by those beams to let us get to the outside jump panels of the arena. If you don't get out in time, you will die. While we are out here, there will be a bunch of spanner rooks that we need to kill, 1 per platform. We need to kill all of them, 1 on all 9 platforms. The jump panels only go one way clockwise, so we need to keep going in one direction, killing these spanner rooks 1 at a time. In the meantime, there will be regular bursts of electricity on each platform, so you need to make sure you get off so that you do not take too much damage from the electricity. Just keep moving, try not to get electrocuted too much, and take care of the spanner rooks. Just keep spinning in circles, basically. And once all the spanner rooks are dead, we'll be able to jump back to the middle of the arena safely. It's very silly, I love it. I love the just constant jumping from platform to platform. Trying to kill off all these enemies so we can safely make it back in. I didn't notice that the jump panel had appeared, so I missed my chance. We'll just have to jump a few more ahead, and that'll let us get back to the middle of the arena. Alright, back in the middle, we are back to fighting Glasya Labolas. Everything resets from here. He'll do the weaker death stream again eventually, and then the stronger death stream that pushes us back out to the outside of the edge of the arena, but at this point we've already seen it and he's almost dead, so I don't think we gotta worry about that. And that's about it for his mechanics, so let's move on. Right, next trash pack phase. Our next trash pack. There is, of course, another dragon. As usual, we can't get away from the dragons. How many dragons did they bring in from Maricidia? But we did have to step away for a moment. A few people had to step away for a moment. We're going to take the trash pack as usual, left, middle, right. The dragon is not going to get directly involved in the fight at first. Instead, it's going to be flying up above and trying to dash at us to cause problems, or breathe fire at us. Occasionally, it will set up a marker above someone's head. That marker is going to be the same as the Twintania dash marker. It's the same mechanic. They're going to dash at that player. That player needs to get away from everyone, and everyone needs to get away from them, so they don't get hit by the dash like we just all got hit by the dash. Once all of the enemies are down, and after one more dash, the red dragon will drop in and join the fight, and at the same time a few Haukas will spawn. The Haukas are Mamulja. They are from Tyrol. So not only do they have dragons from Maricidia here in Syrcus Tower, they have Mamulja from Tyrol. Alag was all over the fucking place. God, I can't wait to learn more about them. I'm sure we'll learn more about them in time. But not too bad from here. Red Dragon's not too bad. Haukas aren't too bad. Take them down and the trash pack will be clear. Oh, I guess there are a few more ads that pop up. Is that a Void Set? Abaya, are you a Void Set? You look like a Void Set, but you're very, very bleached white. Void Set are normally a lot darker in color. Alright, next boss is the right-hand man of Xande, Amon, the man who revived Xande. Amon is fairly simple. He's got mechanics, of course, but he's fairly simple. His main mechanics revolve around his ads that he gets. and we'll get into that once we're in the fight and the ads are appearing. His basic attacks are Blizzaga Forte, which is an AoE centered on him, and also does a lot of damage and inflicts heavy on you if you get hit by it. Fundaga Forte is big AoEs underneath random players. You need to get out of those AoEs or you'll take massive damage and an electrocution damage over time. And finally, Faraga Forte is a raid wide blast. Does not do that much damage, but it does hit everyone. And we accidentally pulled early, it looks like. Oh well, it's fine. We survived. Or at least we will survive. It is ideal to have Amon in the center of the arena, because his ads are going to try and move towards him. First off are the experimental byproducts. If any of those reach him, it will do raid-wide damage and a debuff upon the entire alliance. It's generally a good idea to tank Amon in the center. Our tank, I think, got tunnel vision and forgot to do that at first. They'll correct in a minute. They'll correct right about now, actually. But yeah, the experimental byproducts will do massive raid-wide damage and a debuff to the party if they're not killed before they reach him. Next up on the ad list is the Kumkums, big enemies who do a lot of damage. They're generally annoying. They have a lot of health, they're hard to deal with, but thankfully they can be made weaker by these energy balls. These will tether to a player, you can drag them into the Kumkums, and it will cause them to shrink, making them much weaker, lower HP, and easier to kill. Awesome. So yeah, weaken the Kumkums with the energy balls and clear them out. There is one more set of ads that will appear in just a minute or two. It may take a little bit, but when they pop up, I'll go over their mechanics. Alright, so 3 things are going to happen at once. 1, he's going to summon 3 Kichiknebik? Yeah, Kichiknebik. 3 giant snake enemies called Kichiknebit. He's going to turn 3 players into fire frogs. The Kichiknebiks are going to chase after the fire frogs. You want to kill those Kichiknebiks as fast as possible because they are very dangerous to the frogs. They will do a lot of damage to the frogs. Every player who's turned into frogs, all they can do is breathe fire. And at the same time, 3 players will be turned into ice, like I just did. First time players get turned to ice, the fire frogs want to melt the ice. You want to free the players so they can actually be doing damage and contributing to the fight. Second time that people turn into ice, you don't want to melt the ice. Because he's going to start using an ability called Curtain Call, which is effectively the same as Behemoth's Meteor attack. Hide behind the ice to protect yourself from Curtain Call. If he is getting ready to use Curtain Call, do not melt the ice. Otherwise, probably do melt the ice so your teammates can actually contribute to the fight. And that's about all the mechanics. Kichiknebiks are annoying. They can be very dangerous to the frogs, but you can it is something you can deal with. Focus ads first. Protect the ice if Curtain Call's coming, and otherwise it's not too bad of a fight. And of course, hide behind the ice for the meteor. That is Curtain Call. The final boss is Xande. We needed to take a quick break here because a few people just needed to step away to take care of stuff. Just real quick stuff before doing the final boss to make sure they were ready. But let's see. What mechanics do we need to go over? Alright, so he has quite a few mechanics that you're going to see on, even if you're doing this regular synced. You don't skip the mechanics by doing this synced, but they are a little bit more difficult on mine difficulty, which I like. This is honestly a really fun fight. I'm a big fan of it. So he's got his big AoEs that you need to watch out for. Obviously, just stand out of those. That's a pretty standard mechanic. I believe they'll just appear under 3 random players, and they are rather big AoEs. At random points throughout the fight, it might not be random, it might be specific intervals throughout the fight, he will summon these orbs all over the arena. You need 1 person standing in each orb in order to absorb its damage. If there's somebody standing in the orb when it goes off, it will do 50 damage to whoever's standing in the orb. If no one's standing in the orb, it does 500 damage to the entire alliance. Pretty easy to tell what to do there. You want someone standing in the orb to prevent it from doing a ton of damage to everyone. Around the point, he's around 60 to 70% of his HP left. 60% it looks like. He's going to teleport up to his throne, and we have a intermission phase. There will be 3 of these Stonefall circles and 1 Starfall circle here in the arena. Each alliance will take 1 Stonefall circle and destroy them, and then move on to the Starfall circle in the middle. If you take too long to destroy them, meteors will come crashing down and kill everyone. They are drawing meteors down from the sky. If I were to aim my camera up, you could probably see that. But was a little bit focused on, fighting it. I might aim the camera up at some point, but the focus was on fighting the Starfall circle to not die. But wow, that got close enough to almost come on camera. Once the Starfall circles and the Stonefall circles are down, back to Xande. There's going to be 3 stack markers. You want to get in those stack markers. Preferably whichever one is associated with your alliance. You want to stand in. And once the attack has gone off, there will be anti-gravity fields. Stay in the anti-gravity fields and you'll be protected from Ancient Quagga, which just went off. Ancient Quagga does a ton of damage if you're standing on the ground. If you are on the anti-gravity field summoned by the stack markers, you'll be fine. And then immediately after Ancient Quagga's done, there will be big AoEs dropped on random party members, so you need to scatter to get out of those. It's fun! It makes you gather together, stay together, and then run from each other real fast. Okay, got another cycle of this. But I think that's about it for all the mechanics so far. So, there will be just 1 more mechanic we need to go over, and that will come when he hits around, right now, 30%. He teleports back to his throne once again. And this time, in addition to the Starfall circle, there are 6 Stonefall circles. So each alliance is going to need to take care of 2 Stonefall circles before moving to the Starfall circle. I believe the Stonefall circles will actually hit first, so they are the priority. You want to destroy them first before the Starfall circle. Starfall has a lot more health, but it's also a lot slower to do damage to the party, or to the alliance, so Stonefall, then Starfall. And yeah, that's way too high up. We're not able to see it from here, unfortunately. And that is all of his mechanics. From here on, it's just repeating what we had already. And then we can finish him off and finish off Syrcus Tower. So, I'm going to go ahead and leave you here, and I'll meet you back in the present day, not post-commentary, once we're done. Okay, that went real clean. That went really, really clean. We only wiped once. I honestly expected it to be much worse than that, but we only wiped once. Okay, let's go ahead and get our commemorative photo taken. And I'll be right back after that's done. And we can finish up the quest. Okay, we got our photos done. Let's get out of here. Satora! You did it! You defeated Emperor Xande! Empires may rise and fall, but man's indefatigable— oh god, I hate this word. Oh no, I've said it before correctly. Indefatigable spirit ever lives on. Truly you are the champion we had hoped for, Satora Lancy. With Emperor Xande now at eternal rest, his dark legacy may be undone. What are you playing at now, Nero? In case you haven't noticed, Garland, these are dangerous surrounds. Can a man be faulted for exercising due caution? At any rate, you needn't mind me. I am perfectly capable of looking after myself. Go on and finish what you came to do. There are two ways that we may seal off Syrcus Tower, either isolate it from the outside world, or cripple its ability to produce energy. The choice of method is yours to make. Before you proceed, however, Doga and I must needs attend to a task. That distortion, what is it? The power that Xande sought to obtain comes from the Void. The world of darkness, our people called it. And the true nature of that power was none other than the armies of Void Sense. Void Sense feed on ether, as you may already know, and no plane is richer in it than ours. In exchange for their allegiance, Xande entered into an unholy covenant. He would open a gate through which the Voidsent could freely enter our world. The covenant, I'm afraid to say, is still in effect. However, being of the Emperor's lineage, Une and I believe we can annul it. By his blood, Xande sealed his dark pact. By our blood, it shall be undone. It is time. Yes, Doga. Finally, we may fulfill our purpose. Oh, be still, my beating hearts. For a moment I feared that this outing would end in disappointment, but my readings were not mistaken. Not even the ultimate weapon compares to this. What are you going on about? The Covenant is everlasting. And so Mara City is brought into the fold. Soon, all the world shall be united under Allegan rule. And yet, with every dream that becomes reality, the memory of death grows ever more vivid, an endless void bereft of light and warmth. Though I may have defeated death, it did not leave me unscathed. Nay, its ravening claws have scarred my soul for eternity. Never shall I know peace. Beings without will, you cannot fathom my rage, my melancholy, my fear. What worth is wealth and power when all must inevitably be consigned to nothingness? If man has nothing, he need not know the pain of loss. So let there be nothing. Harvest more power that the gate may be thrown full open. Let the cloud of darkness come and engulf the world, devouring all life, hopes, and dreams. Let all be returned to nothingness. Satora, pull yourself together. Is there no end to them? What in the seven hells is happening? Not now, damn it! Nero, were they part of your grand plan too? Save your japes, Garland. I didn't put up with your arrogant face to play with worthless clones. Something controls them. A void scent, no ordinary one at that. Doga! Confound it, without them, there's no way to master the darkness. That power is mine. Nero! The covenant shall be honored. I am the cloud of darkness. I shall devour your light and return this world to the void. Damn it, the rift is gone. What are we supposed to do now? As much as it pains me to leave without them, there's precious little we can do. Let us return to the Find and consult Rambros. Xande may be defeated, but we still have problems. Une, Doga, and Nero. I'm not mourning Nero's loss too much, but Une and Doga? This sucks. And the Cloud of Darkness is preparing to make their move? Lovely. Alright, who has not left the Alliance? Okay, just a few people. Okay, let's get back to the camp. Let's get back to St. Coinox Find. regroup, and discuss what we're doing next. And let's get off a party chat. I'm a little bit salty. I probably said in the post commentary not to look at the Alliance chat too hard, because a few people got a little bit overeager with referencing some of the ways Crystal Tower comes back later on in the story. And I don't like that people spoiled that, but at the same time, the strategizing in Alliance chat I think is important to show. And hiding the Alliance chat outright would kind of spoil what parts will come back later, so. Hopefully I said in the post commentary, try not to look too hard at the Alliance chat if you don't want to get spoiled on stuff. They didn't say anything too explicit, but a few people were coy in the like, haha, I know what happens with this thing later on. And it's like, okay, well, thank you for confirming that that's going to be relevant later on. I have mentioned before that Crystal Tower comes back later in the main story. This is a known fact. That is why they made it mandatory to the main story. So the fact that there are things that will come back later is not spoilers. Just, I'm a little bit annoyed that people did that. I'll talk with them later. It's not a big deal. People were being silly. It's fine. I feel as though I am forgetting something important, but for the life of me, I cannot remember what that something is. I hope you remember it soon. For now, most of us are safe. Everyone's been in a dark mood since returning. I take it the mission didn't go well. I mean, it mostly went well. That was actually really clean. We only wiped once. We got to see basically all of the mechanics in the entire raid, which is awesome. Normally you don't see any of those mechanics. Yeah, everything went really clean. I'm happy with that. I think part of the reason it went so much smoother than Labyrinth is Labyrinth was designed for 6 tanks, 2 tanks per party. But from Syrcus Tower onwards, the rest of the Alliance raids in the game are balanced around 3 tanks, not 6. So that probably accounts at least a little bit for why it was so much easier. Rambros may know a way to bring our friends back. Let's consult him without delay. I appreciate the attention and all, but don't you have better things to do than chat with me? Well, I just wanted to check in with everyone. Sorry. All this happened within the tower? Gods preserve. The rift that manifested before the throne was a void gate, of this I am certain. There exist myriad kinds of void scent. The more powerful the being, the larger the gate must be for it to pass through. It would seem that Xande sought to open a gate of unprecedented proportions, one that would allow this cloud of darkness entry into our world. Fortunately for all mankind, he did not succeed. I shudder to imagine what this void scent is capable of. However dreadful it may be, we can't abandon our friends. Is there no way to save them? I will not lie to you, Master Garland. The situation is bleak. Though void scent can enter our world, instances of men entering the void have never been documented. It pains me to give voice to my fears, but we do not even know whether our friends still live. Damn it, I feel so helpless. No, I refuse to give up. We must save Doga and Une. We share the same eye, 'tis true, but that is not what motivates me. Above all, I wish to help them to fulfill their mission. A mission whose burden they have borne for thousands of years, and besides, we cannot leave matters as they are. So long as Xande's Dark Covenant is binding, our world is in danger. 'Tis our duty to prevent the worst from coming to pass. Graha, ever since meeting Une and Doga, you have not quite been yourself. Tell me true, is all well with your eye? I honestly cannot say. I know only that there is a memory that I must recall. As a child, my father told me that the truth of our eye rests with Alag. The answer eludes me still, but one day I will find it. I am with Graha. However slim the odds, we must try to save Une and Doga. Aye, and that bastard Nero as well, if only to make certain that he won't make any more mischief. You have the right of it. Though we have known them but briefly, Doga and Une are our comrades. We cannot fail them. I shall consult experts in literature both. I swear to leave no stone unturned. Yet, know that it may be a while before we are ready to act. I would ask that you all be patient. When dealing with a void, one cannot be cautious enough. My thanks again for your assistance. Pray rest now while you can. For when the time comes to go after our friends, you must be at no less than full strength. We'll save them yet, Satora, mark my words. Syrcus Tower complete, and that is all for the Crystal Tower raid series for this patch. The finale will come in patch 2.5. For now, there is more to Rambrose's documents, but we can't check them at this time because you have the quests available for us, so we'll have to check those once we've accepted the last quest, so that'll be in patch 2.5. For now, Graha. Being born with one red eye, I did not have the most pleasant of childhoods. You know what they say, children can be cruel. The end result being that I grew up determined to uncover the truth of the trait. Much and more yet remains beyond my knowing, but one thing is certain. The nearer I draw to the heart of the Crystal Tower, the more I am convinced that an important memory eludes me. I hope you can recall it soon. This is just my humble opinion, but a man like Emperor Xande wouldn't leave anything to chance. Before we arrived at the tower's apex, he would have completed his preparations to open the Void Gate. That's why the gate manifested so soon after you defeated him, and poor Une and Doga were sucked in. Thoroughness and the lust for nihility make for a dreadful combination. Yeah, that's terrifying. This man saw beyond death, and when he came back from death, he found nothing. He was so poisoned by death and nihilism, and just the nothingness of it all, that he wanted to end the world for it. Terrifying. Even without Dalamud in the heavens, the Crystal Tower is capable of generating vast amounts of energy. It's only a matter of time before the Void Gate is thrown open fully. Knowing this, Nero used us in order to secure safe passage to the tower's apex. Though I doubted that any of us fell for his ruse, we let the scoundrel do as he pleased nonetheless. Deep down, we all wanted to believe that a man can change for the better. Void gates and the like are a thaumaturge's domain. Engineers like me and Wedge are out of our depth. Having said that, we're not entirely useless here. The workings of the Crystal Tower itself are a language we understand. If there's something to decipher, we mean to decipher it. Best of luck with that. Real quick, one thing I forgot before we go, and that is the loot that we get from Syrcus Tower. Ignore the horrible, horrible hat. I hate it. The Scylla hat for the casters is terrible, I'm going to be honest. It looks like Scylla, but I hate it. Anyways, loot that you get from Syrcus Tower is item level 100 gear, no accessories, no weapons, just the main body armor. You also get, where is it? A triple triad card of Xande. This drops from Xande. We also get from Xande again, the wind-up Onion Knight. The Onion Knight, actually all of the loot is going to drop from Xande at the very end. The item level 100 gear, of course, comes from all the treasure coffers throughout the run. But all the rest of the loot other than gear comes from Xande and his treasure coffers. After the Onion Knight, we have the Shattered Orchestrion Roll. And then the last two things are faded copies of Out of the Labyrinth and Now I Know the Truth. We'll be getting to crafting with these in due time. For now, we got the loot. And let's finish off today with Minion Guide looking at the wind-up Onion Knight. Alright, if Sons of St. Quinoc, anthropogeographer Rambrose is to be believed, towards the end of their civilization, the Alligans began using automata such as this to fight their wars, which had been deemed inhumane yet ultimately necessary to spread imperial peace. Yeah, that sounds like Empire indeed. By the Onion from Blozong. Alright, pretty sure this is in some way a Final Fantasy III reference. I have not played 3 yet. I want to play 3 at some point. But yeah, Crystal Tower raids are based very heavily on Final Fantasy III. Maybe I'll get to Final Fantasy III someday. I want to. I want to go through most, if not all, the Final Fantasies at some point. Just gotta find the time for it. Anyways, cutting back to before we ended, cutting back to where we were earlier. Alright. Before we finish off for today, oh god, okay, there we go, now I'm not lost. Before we finish off for today, I do have a quick update. Juniper hit rank 18. This is the last rank we are going to be getting before we hit Heavensward. There are 2 Thavnarian onions we can get for free in Heavensward, so I'm waiting to get the last 2 ranks until then. But for now, give me that enhanced critical hit and that Choco Guard. And with that, next time on Final Fantasy XIV. Now that Crystal Tower is done, we've got just a few things left before we're done with this patch. We've got one last update with the Ixal, a few more post-Moogle quests. We've got fishing to do still. We have an extreme trial. And we've got a follow-up to the A Realm Reborn tribe quest. There's a little bit of a finale that'll be coming up soon. So yeah, we're almost done with the patch. Almost ready for patch 2.4. Also, this video is coming out on the day Dawn Trail releases. You may notice we're not playing on the day Dawn Trail releases because I needed to do this well in advance to get ready. Patch 2.4 will all be recorded on Dawn Trail onwards, so when we get to patch 2.4, you can expect to see the graphical update in place. And once that's out, we'll also be going over the various changes to the various jobs, since a lot of them are going to be changing up in Dawn Trail. Probably not too much, but they will be changing, so any relevant changes I'll be sure to go over. Anything else? I think that's about it. So yeah, next time on Final Fantasy XIV, we are coming up on the end of patch 2.3, so let's finish off the Ixal quests. I'll see everyone next time for that.